It should be telling you that we're live streaming right now.
You got it.
You got it. Facebook, hi, it's me. Yeah, it's me again with one more of these little interviews. Today, you're so lucky. This is the second chance you've had now, including today, to get to know Art Schill. He's a delight. Everybody that knows Art Schill adores him. Anyway, I'm going to read you his intro. It says here, he doesn't talk about himself in the third person. He says, I. That's incredible. He says, I started doing stand-up in 2017 at the age of 81. And that same year was a winner of AARP Funniest Comedian Contest. Since then, I have done shows in clubs, colleges, theaters, VFWs, American Legions, etc. From Miami up to a U.S. Air Force veteran, headlining with the Veterans of Comedy Assault twice at the Mohegan Sun. He says he's worked with many headliners, many times with headliners such as Christopher Roach, Steve Marshall. These are big guys, big dogs. Joe DeVito, oh my gosh. Jim Delikas, I guess it is. Delikas?
Yep, Delikas.
Delikas.
He's from Australia, but he also does shows all over the country, as well as all over the world.
I'll have to check him out.
Super, super funny guy.
I'll check him out. I have now been included in a book. That's what got us to come back on here today. The third act, and other famous people are in the book with him. Alan Alda, Robert Redford. Can we just pause for a minute at Robert Redford? Gloria Steinem, whatever. I'm kidding. Marlo Thomas, oh my gosh. And others who have either reinvented themselves later in life or continue to be active in their later years. I don't know, he says, I don't know how he got included, but he'll take it. It will be out November 15th and is available right now on Amazon. So give it up for my friend in real life and on many Zoom things that we've done together. Your new friend, Art Schill.
How you doing? How you doing?
Hi, Art. Thanks for coming on.
By the way, just to start off, somebody asked me what the definition of irony was, and the best way I could describe it, irony is getting pregnant on a pull-out couch. I thought that was funny anyway.
That's what we call a Schillism. I love that. I have right here across the room, ignore the trash on the door, I have a pull-out couch.
Okay, well, don't get pregnant on it.
I promise. Were you in the Navy?
No, I was in the Air Force.
Oh, good, because I'm afraid of semen.
Oh.
That's the best I can do.
Of a pun.
Yeah, it's so much lower than any other kind of comedy. It's not beneath me.
But listen, you can get away with it because you're pretty.
Thank you.
I have to go with whatever I can go with to get the laughs because I'm certainly not pretty.
I get so tired of being abused. I go up on stage and I sling jokes, and just to hear people say how pretty I am, I'm so sick of it.
Yeah, well, I can't get away with that. I am a sex object.
Yeah, you are.
But the people I'm a sex object to are in their 80s and 90s, so it really doesn't matter.
I'll loan you my wig. It'll probably get you a lot of compliments.
Better off if you loan me your wheelchair.
This is not a wig, but I had somebody, this smart aleck comic said, I like your wig.
And what'd you say back?
Nothing.
No,
I
you shouldn't.
thought, I
You
know,
should
I
have said,
wanted to.
I didn't realize you were bald. You got to give what you get. Come on. They opened it up for you. It was wide open for you to say something.
I'm so afraid to heckle a comedian back, but
Well,
when they
was it a comedian who said it?
yeah, while he was on stage.
Oh, okay.
He thought I was just an old lady in the audience, but little did he know I was an old comedian in the audience.
You know, it's funny. I was at a show one time at Governor's, as a matter of fact, and I saw I can't remember who it was, Mary, can't think of her last name now. Very, very pretty.
Kennedy?
Comedian. No, very pretty comedian. And I said hello to her, gave her a kiss on the cheek, and I was standing behind her, and the comedian who was up on stage saw us, and he said, "Are you two together?" I said, "No, she's way above my pay grade," or something like that. And he said something about, I don't know what it was, and he started saying things that really weren't nice. And I said something about, well, and then he said, "So are you married?" I said, "Yeah," but I said, "No, my wife passed away a while ago." And now the audience was with me instead of with him.
Yeah.
And they all went, "Oh," and he didn't do anything after that. And he just went on to something else.
Good.
So, you got to give back what you get.
Yes.
Sometimes.
When people go on, if I go on stage and I go sit down and somebody goes up after me and tries to diss me or roast me, they lose their likability because the crowd doesn't want to hear it.
That's right. I got to tell you, Steve Marshall, Chris Roach, they are great at answering hecklers. They really, really are.
It's such an art. Sorry
Yeah,
for
well,
the
I'm
pun.
not the art that you can do it. That's
Oh
funny
my,
because the gentleman, what's his first name? I can't think of his first name. His last name is Spiato. He used to book the talent for the Friars Club. And that's where I met him, as a matter of fact. And he now does all of the entertainment for a very high-priced, what I guess it's a senior citizen community on Long Island.
wow.
And I mean, it starts at $750,000 a year, or something like $750,000 is the cheapest apartment you can get there.
That's
And it goes up to about 1.5 million to 2 million and so forth. And I've done a few shows there for him, and he calls me the art of comedy.
oh, that's so
I
cool.
thought that was cool.
I love the name of the book that you're in, the third quarter, right?
No, the third act.
Third act.
It's
Because
really
I'm coming out with a book called The Fourth Quarter, but I spell fourth Forth.
well, what is it about?
It's about for military and veterans and anybody that's been through a lot of traumas to heal all the way so they can go forth.
Oh, that's an interesting idea.
Thank you.
It really is. When is it coming out?
Before I do.
Great line. That is a really great line.
I just thought of it.
So,
With
now
cracker
that's something
shells
you should write down immediately so you don't forget it.
Okay, where's my paper and pencil?
That's why I write down material every single day.
Me too.
And then what I do is I put it up on Facebook, and if I get enough likes, I'll use it the next time I do a show. If I don't get enough likes, I just write it off.
So I have a book about, I went on stage once with a Charlie McCarthy doll that I got at a Goodwill, and it was broke. So of course the woman was on stage doing all the work for the man. And I said, I have a new book coming out, and it's called Ventriloquism, ... for the Dummies. And then, the bad news is the book is $149.95. I know it's kind of spendy, but the good news, it's only one page. I don't know
But how
why
many people know who Charlie McCarthy is anymore?
I know. And but well, actually it's just one paragraph. And okay, it's one sentence.
One sentence. No, it's only one word. And actually, there's no words at all.
And it just says, you bought the book, who's the dummy now?
That's what you should be the prologue. An empty book with a prologue.
That was a fun thing to act out on stage, with that. And the Charlie McCarthy doll was missing its glasses, so I said, look at him making a spectacle.
It's monocle.
Yeah, it was missing a monocle.
Was Mortimer Snerd on there with it?
No.
How many people really know what we're talking about right now, do you think?
Let's change it and turn it into millennial speak.
Okay. Then we have to talk about who is that young lady who does the ventriloquism on America's Got Talent, who's so great. She does a show in Las Vegas.
April Brucker.
Is that her name?
Blonde?
No.
Oh, I know, Jen something. She's at the Westgate.
Yeah, she's really great. She really is.
Yeah, she lives, if I go walk out my sidewalk, which I'm not going to do right now because they're burning rubber. They're having a car show. I can't even breathe outside with the burning rubber. I have lung problems. But if I did go outside for a walk, I would be at the Westgate in less than 5 minutes.
Really? Wow. So is that where you do your hooking?
I do it anywhere I can.
Hey, sailor.
Yeah, I really miss living by a port.
No, I could get into that, but I won't. Wait a minute. I shouldn't say I could get into that. But anyway, when you talk about the book and it only being one page and who's the dummy now, that's called chutzpah. Okay? But nobody really knows what chutzpah really is. And I'll give you a definition of chutzpah. When I worked in the city, every day when I came out for lunch, I was at 1221 Avenue of the Americas, near Rockefeller Center. And there was a woman with a push cart who was selling pretzels for $1 a piece. And every day I would leave $1. I would not take a pretzel. I never talked to her. She never talked to me. But every single day for 3 years, I left $1 and we never talked. I never took a pretzel. One day I left $1 and she looked at me, and for the first time she talked to me. She said, they're $1.50 now. No, that's chutzpah.
You had me going. That's a good one.
I'm gonna start using that in some of my comedy.
I love that. So let's talk about a little bit about your life. Fill people in, the 1 or 2 people that are going to see the video. Fill them in on like when you started comedy and what your life was like growing up. That would be so interesting if you could just like take us through that.
Well, I grew up in Brooklyn. Everyone in the United States started out, if they go back in their ancestry, in either Brooklyn or the Bronx. Everyone started out in either Brooklyn or the Bronx. I don't care where they live now, that's where they started out. So I grew up in Brooklyn. I grew up in the days when we didn't have cell phones, we didn't have TV, we didn't have video games or anything like that. So you went out and played until the lights came on the street lamps, and your parents called you in, and that was it. Okay. Other than that, as soon as you got home, finished with your homework, you went outside. That was fun. Okay. Today, I don't think the kids know what that really is.
No.
They really don't, because without their cell phones, their video games, and all that, they really don't know. With social media, it's a shame. It really is. But you can't go back. Let's face facts.
Yeah.
So that's where I grew up. Went into the Air Force at 18 years old, the Korean War. My brother had been in the Air Force. He started out at the end of the Second World War, also at 18. Got out, he got out, went to college. They called him back in for Korea. He got out again, started a career. They called him back in for the Cuban Missile Crisis. He got out, started another career, and every time he got out, they called him back in. He was everywhere. He was in Korea, he was in Vietnam. Hold on, let me get rid of this. He was in Cambodia when we had no troops there. That's where he was flying out of. He was in the Air Force and retired finally as a colonel. So he always had stories about me calling him up drunk when I was in the Air Force. I really wasn't, but he used to tell my parents that I would call him drunk. What are you going to do? You have an older brother, he talks about you like that.
Yes.
But anyway, spent 4 years as a medic in the Air Force, got out, went to college, got married, had a good career, primarily in marketing. Joined a company back in the 80s. I'm still with the company. I'm a partner. It's a nationwide company that helps people make career moves, change jobs, make more money. We're not a headhunter. Headhunters work for the company finding people. We work for the individual, helping them find what they're looking for. And I still do that during the day. And one day I was watching AGT. I saw some comics on there and I said, gee, I could do that. So I decided to become a stand-up comic. And that's how I started doing what I'm doing. And it's really fun. My feeling, truthfully, is if you can make people laugh and get their minds off their problems and their troubles, even for a few minutes, it's worth every minute that I'm up there. And I love to get people laughing. There was the local newspaper, Newsday, did a 3-page article about me in 2018, and the feature article. And one of the questions the reporter asked me, it was at a major theater. There were about 500 people there that I was doing a show in, and he asked me, "Don't you get nervous when you're up there?" And I said, "Why would I get nervous?" He said, "Look at all the people that are out there." I said, "No, to me, I'm still telling the same jokes I told when I was sitting in somebody's living room with my friends, just telling jokes. It's just a bigger living room." And that's how I feel about it.
That's so
And that's
good.
it.
You know, it takes a long time for some comedians and comics to be who they are off stage, on stage. But it sounds like you did that right out of the gate.
Well, I did take lessons. My daughter I remember calling my daughter and saying, I need you to drive me to St. John's University. She said, why? I said, I'm trying out for America's Got Talent. She said, when you told me you were going to start doing stand-up, I thought you were going to do it for old age homes and things and communities, not for AGT. So I did actually try out. It was a mob scene. Really was. And they liked my comedy, but they said it was a little bit too edgy for them. Although now I see comics doing things that they wouldn't let me do back then.
Yeah.
I guess it's getting a little bit more risque. And that's what started it. And I took lessons. My daughter, actually, for my birthday, bought me lessons. And I got a standing ovation the night of our graduation. I only have 5 people in the audience out of 275 people. So I must have been funny. I don't know. But I just love it. I just
Yeah.
love it.
And you've got to go do comedy in so many great places and with so many great people. And people just adore you, the audiences and the comedians.
I think they have pity on me because of my age.
I think you're so adorable. That's what I was telling them when they interviewed me over at Governor's. I was like, he's the most adorable. Are you interested in anybody? I said, oh man, I wish I could have Art Schill.
Yeah, well, I wish I could have you too, but you're too far away. Wait a minute, let me grab you right now.
Oh man, it was so funny when they were interviewing me and they were Sally was on the phone calling you.
I know, I was trying to get on the phone with you, but it was too late by then. I think, who was it who contacted me and let me know that you had said those things? And
It
I
was
said, wait a
either
minute, I got to get on the phone with her.
I was up in your neck of the woods. You could have come and just on a white horse and swooped me off on, and I'd never be seen again.
That's right, because I would have swept you off your feet and we both would have fallen off.
So, what is your goal? What do you have to accomplish in your life before you get old like me and kick the bucket?
Old like you? Wow.
I'm
Um,
71.
I'm going to be opening at the Palladium at my 100th birthday. That's my
Yes,
goal. That's my
that's
goal. I'm going to be the George Burns who never made it because he died at 99. He said he was going to be at the Palladium at 100. I'm going to be the George Burns who made it.
oh my goodness sakes. Do you ever do a George Burns impression?
No, I don't smoke cigars.
I loved Gracie so much.
Well, she was the one who was the funny one. He was just the straight man.
Yeah,
She was hilarious.
I love her. I love her so much. Yeah,
But,
I sometimes just sit and watch them. Still
so
Marv.
who was your favorite? Who was your favorite comic of all time?
Well, let's see. Living. I have,
Not necessarily living. I said of all time.
well, I know, I think if I'm going to go with ones that passed on, female, it would have to be Joan Rivers. The Joan Rivers before she got kind of nasty. Because she, she could just, she had a heart of gold. You listen, everybody that met her was impressed with her heart. But on stage, she had a persona at the end that I didn't like so well.
What was the name of the one who had the facelift later on?
That was Joan.
No, not Joan Rivers. The one who really wasn't good looking at all for quite a long time. Talked about Fang, her husband.
Oh,
Fang.
yeah. Oh, shoot. I have her book.
But I thought she was very funny too.
Phyllis Diller.
Right. She was very funny too.
Yeah.
But my all-time funny comic, and luckily I was old. I worked in up in the Catskills when I first got out of the Air Force on the social staff and all that. So I met a lot of the comics and the entertainers and so forth. And my all-time favorite comic was Buddy Hackett.
Really?
thought-
Tell me why.
Well, he could tell a story, and while he was telling the story, he would go off on a tangent and tell other stories while he was telling the story. And he'd have you in stitches through the entire thing. And
Jeez.
he was just hilarious. When he was actually, this is a true story. He was playing golf with a bunch of other comics up at the Concord, and he hit his ball into the rough and was gone for quite a long time when they were waiting for him. And he suddenly came running out of the rough, out of the forest, completely naked except for his shoes and socks, waving his golf club in the air, yelling, "Locusts, locusts." So he was funny in real life as well as on stage, but he always had me in stitches. I
Boy,
thought he was hilarious.
wouldn't it be wonderful if if people could come back to life and I could interview them?
Well, you can see a lot of Buddy Hackett on Johnny Carson shows that are still available on the internet.
I'll have to look at that.
And there were a lot of my shows on the internet.
I'll have to. Do you have your own YouTube?
No, but I know you can go. The last show that somebody taped was actually a fundraiser for the veterans. It was at a library. Which one was it? It was just last month, I think, or was it September? It was the Blue Point. If you go and look for Art Schill, Blue Point Library, that was the last show that somebody taped.
Got it.
I think that's on YouTube. I know it's on the internet. But
I'll
there's a
go
whole
look
bunch
for
of
it.
shows on the internet.
If I find it, I'll share it. If you
There you
find
go.
it, you can send it to me if you find it, but I'll go look for it today.
Okay. Okay.
So-
Maybe you'll get some laughs out of it.
Yeah. So is there anything that you want to accomplish in the rest of your life? Did I get that answer?
Well, aside from being on the Palladium at 100 years old,
Yeah. besides
yeah, I
that.
want to be on Jimmy Fallon. Okay. Maybe the guy who wrote the book can get me on Jimmy Fallon. I have to ask him because he's the executive vice president of American Movie Channel, AMC. That's the
Wow.
author of the book. And he and I have talked a couple of times. Well, not talked, but we've exchanged emails on a number of occasions. So maybe he can get me on. Who knows? Maybe I can get on Jimmy Fallon.
That would be
Maybe I can get
wonderful.
on AGT. Who knows?
That would be cool. You should be on AGT.
Well, considering I don't know how much longer I'm going to be around, maybe they'll put me on just as a sympathy type of thing.
But you're funny. You stand on your own merit. I have an AGT producer that's one of my friends, so I'll tag her in this video.
Well, if you can, that would be great because what I really need is there's no way at my age I'm going to be part of that mosh pit that you have to go through and stand in and everything else to be seen.
Absolutely. Yeah, she
Okay.
came and found me on
Really?
Facebook.
Well, have you interviewed for them? Have you tried out for them?
I didn't have to. She submitted my stuff, but I don't think it went anywhere. I haven't heard.
Okay, how long ago was that?
It was supposed to be for this upcoming season, but I haven't heard any more, so it may not, it's probably not going to happen.
Well, you know, I work with one headliner, John Ziegler, who
I love
has,
him. I love him.
well, you know, he has pancreatic cancer.
Yes.
And he actually does comedy about pancreatic cancer, about his fact that he has pancreatic cancer. And he starts off by saying, let me tell you about my cancer. He said, believe me, this is going to be funny. Don't worry about it. This is going to be funny. So he's going to use that to try and get on AGT. And I don't blame him.
I
He
don't
really
blame him.
wants to be on it.
He
He
should be.
should be on it.
He's
He's
so
really
good.
funny.
Yes, he is. He's a great comic. He's not just good, he's
Done a
great.
number of shows with him recently.
He opens for Bobby Collins.
I think he does. I think he does. Okay. So I've been on a number of shows with him recently.
That's fabulous.
Been doing a lot of 3-person shows lately. I had one show, as I said, I actually was asked to produce the show by the person who was given the show to put together. And he does music concerts. He hasn't done any comedy shows yet. And he said, can you put together, he's seen me do some shows, and he approached me and said, can you put together the show? And that was the one where I had Jim DeLakis headline. It was myself and the host that I selected. So I've been doing a lot of 3-person shows now, along with Paul Anthony as well. And I'm doing about 15, 20 minutes each time. And I
Great.
usually go up right before the headliner. So I
Fabulous.
always tell them, some of those laughs you're getting are people who finally understood the jokes I told.
Well, I should be getting off of here, but I'll share this with a bunch of veteran groups, and I'll share it with a bunch of other places on the Facebook. And I'll definitely let the lady over with AGT get tagged in it. And
Good.
we'll see if
Appreciate
if she contacts you. Who knows? She likes to be in control where she contacts people, or else I would have you contact her.
it.
But
No problem.
I don't want to
I can
have her
understand that.
upset.
And you know, I've often wondered, I'm sure the veterans must have a yearly meeting of some sort for the Veterans Administration or something. They should really have a comedy show as part of their meeting.
Absolutely.
I do, when I do VFW and American Legions, I have certain jokes I only tell when I do those shows.
Yeah. My military, I have 5 minutes of, I can go for an hour, but I keep it to 5 tight minutes about being in the military. And then I have like 5 minutes about my military comedy.
Yeah, I do a few jokes that I only use when I'm doing shows for the military.
Absolutely. And they really love it. Or if I have quite a few people in the audience who are military, Vegas is a military town.
Oh, really? I never knew that.
Sometimes, you know, like I'll scope out the audience before a show starts. And if it's heavy with military people, I'll elongate that section of my set and cut something else out.
Well, there are 2 things I've used when I see certain people in the audience. If I see some of the nurses that have treated me at the VA, I'll say, I see some of the nurses in the audience who see me naked. So please take that image of me out of your mind while I'm up here on stage. Or if I see a young couple that is newly married or just got engaged, according to what the host found out, I'll say, let me give you some advice from somebody who was married for over 50 years. The first thing you do when you get up in the morning, turn to your wife and just say, I'm sorry. It'll carry you for the rest of the day. Every morning, just say, I'm sorry.
There's no sense arguing.
Anyway, take good care of yourself, sweetheart.
Take good care
Love
of
you.
yourself. Love you. I'll be back there in April from the 15th to the 30th.
Okay, maybe we'll get together finally.
Yeah, maybe we'll go up on Governors and get on the big show.
Well, I don't know about that, but you know, even if we get into the giggle room, it'll be fun.
Yes, we'll have fun wherever, even if it's in the parking lot.
What, wait a minute, what are we gonna do in the parking lot?
I don't know, but I hope they have a hose ready. Thank you.
I'm way beyond the hose period. Take good
Bye.
care of yourself, sweetheart.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.